Picture two people. Both are 35. Both live in the same city, earn the same salary, and graduated from the same college. One of them will retire at 55 with over $1 million. The other will still be making minimum payments at 65, wondering where it all went. The difference between them is not talent, not luck, and not inheritance. It's how they handle debt in their 20s and 30s. Right now, the average American carries $105,444 in total debt. Across the entire country, that adds up to $18.78 trillion. And nobody sits you down and explains how this trap actually works, or why wealthy people seem to use debt like a tool while everyone else gets crushed by it. That changes today, because once you see the full picture, you can't unsee it. Nobody pays attention to these numbers until something breaks. A missed payment, a declined card, a loan application denied. By then, the hole is deep. Experian's 2025 data shows exactly how deep it gets at every age. If you're between 18 and 28, you're Generation Z. Your average total debt is $34,328. That sounds manageable until you see where the money sits. About 41% of Gen Zers have an auto loan, and those loans average $20,893. That works out to a monthly car payment of roughly $577. That $577 car payment is a warning sign, and almost nobody treats it like one. The maximum you can put into a Roth IRA each year is $7,000. Divide that by 12 months and you get $583 per month. So the average Gen Z car payment is almost identical to the amount it would take to max out the single best retirement account available to a young person. Same money, completely opposite results. The car loses value the moment you drive it off the lot. The Roth IRA grows tax-free for the next 30 to 40 years. Only about 7.6% of Gen Z has a mortgage. So at this age, the debt is mostly cars, student loans around $21,670, and credit cards averaging $3,493. That credit card number is the lowest of any generation. Translation, they just haven't had enough years to stack up the damage that older borrowers have. Now jump forward to millennials ages 29 to 44. Average total debt leaps to $132,280. This is the generation getting squeezed from every direction. Nearly 78% carry a credit card balance averaging $6,961. About 68% have an auto loan, and only 37% have a mortgage. But those who do are carrying the highest average mortgage balance of any generation at $320,027. And no, I'm not making that up. Fewer millennials own homes than Gen X or boomers, but the ones who do own more on them than anyone else. Student loans for this group average around $32,911. But the version of the student loan crisis you usually hear about, that's not the full picture. A massive share of student loans in America right now are the same size or larger than when the money was first borrowed. Many borrowers are going backward, not forward. Their balance is growing, not shrinking. That's not a payment problem. That's a system problem. If you're between 45 and 60, you're Generation X. Your generation is sitting at the peak of the mountain. Average total debt hits $158,105, more than any other living generation, and it's not even close. Over 81% of you are carrying a credit card balance, averaging $9,600. That's nearly triple what Gen Z carries. And 71% still have an auto loan, averaging $27,836. And this is the part where things stop being funny. Only about 10% still have student loans, but among those who do, the average balance is $38,426. And many of those accounts have been open for decades. Imagine carrying a debt longer than you've had your kids. And if you think it gets better with age, it doesn't. If you're between 61 and 79, you're a baby boomer. You're either in retirement or knocking on its door. Your generation's average total debt is still $92,619. 83% of you, the highest rate of any generation, are carrying a credit card balance. That averages $6,795. About 57% still have a mortgage, and 19.5% have taken out a home equity line of credit, the highest HELOC usage of any generation, often because you're tapping your house to cover expenses you can't handle with cash. So the pattern is clear. Debt doesn't just go away as you get older, it changes shape. Student loans turn into car loans overlap with mortgages. Credit cards show up in your 20s and stick around into your 70s. Every generation is carrying something they thought would be temporary. On the surface, those generation by generation numbers look like a predictable climb, just the normal cost of growing up. But the averages are hiding something ugly. The Federal Reserve says the median American household spends about 13.4% of income on debt payments. That sounds manageable, almost comfortable. But that median includes millions of people with zero debt, pulling the number down like a weighted average in a math class where half the kids didn't take the test. Northwestern Mutual found that among people who actually carry non-mortgage debt, 29% of their monthly income goes to servicing it. Nearly a third of every paycheck just keeping the debt alive. Not killing it, just feeding it. Why is it so high? Because the system is designed to extract money from borrowers, slowly and quietly. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's 2025 report found that the average credit card charges an APR of 25.2%. In 2024 alone, Americans paid $160 billion in credit card interest, at the national average balance of $6,768. That's roughly $1,700 per year in interest that buys you absolutely nothing. No groceries, no gas, no shoes, just a fee for the privilege of owing money. And that $1,700 disappearing from your pocket every year, it's going straight into the financial system. The same system where a wealthy American is borrowing against their stock portfolio at 6% interest and writing it off on their taxes. That's the part nobody puts on a graph for you. Two people can both be borrowing money, and the system treats them completely differently. If this video is landing for you, do me a favour. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear these numbers. This channel exists to make sure you never learn these lessons the hard way. Ramsey Solutions surveyed over 10,000 American millionaires and found that 73% of them have never carried a credit card balance. Not once. They don't avoid credit cards, they just never let a balance roll over to the next month. So they never pay a penny of interest. They're on the other side of the equation. When wealthy people do borrow, they borrow against things that are going up in value. Say you own $2 million in stocks. Instead of selling and paying taxes on the gains, you borrow against them through a securities-backed line of credit. The interest rate is usually between 6 and 8%, linked to SOFR, the benchmark rate banks use. You already know what the average person pays on their Visa, 25%. So picture it like this. The average American borrows money to buy things that lose value and pays 25% interest for the privilege. A wealthy American borrows against things that gain value and pays 6 to 8%, often with tax advantages built in. Same concept of borrowing. Opposite results. Tax advisors call the extreme version of this buy, borrow, die. You buy assets, borrow against them instead of selling. And when you pass them to your heirs, the capital gains tax resets. It's legal, it's common among the wealthy, and nobody teaches it in school. The gap between the average American and the wealthy isn't just about income, it's about which side of the interest equation you're sitting on. One group pays interest, the other collects it. So what can you actually do right now, no matter where you are on that ladder? First rule. If you're carrying a credit card balance from month to month, stop using credit cards immediately. Using a credit card and paying it off every month is fine. Carrying a balance at 25% APR is financial quicksand. At the national average balance of $6,768, that's roughly $1,700 per year in interest alone. That money buys you absolutely nothing. Second rule, set a hard ceiling on student loans. Never borrow more in total student loan debt than what you expect to earn in your first year working. If your projected salary out of college is $50,000, your total student loan should stay under $50,000. This one boundary keeps the debt payable in years, not decades, and it forces you to think about return on investment before you sign the paperwork, not after. Third rule, use a simple 3-part test before buying any car. Put at least 20% down so you're not underwater on day one. Pay it off within 3 years so you actually own the car before it falls apart. And keep the monthly payment under 8% of your gross income. One more thing. Never let your car payment be larger than what you're putting into investments each month. The moment you're paying more for a depreciating car than you're investing in your future, your priorities are flipped. Fourth rule. Track your net worth, not just your income. Income is what comes in. Net worth is what you actually keep. According to the Federal Reserve, the median net worth for Americans under 35 is just $39,000. By ages 65 to 74, it jumps to $409,900. That gap happened because the people on the higher end spent decades keeping more than they spent. If your net worth is negative, every spare dollar should go toward flipping that number positive. Fifth rule, keep your total housing cost under 25% of your gross monthly income. That includes mortgage, insurance, taxes, and maintenance. Go above that line and you become what financial planners call house rich, life poor. You own a valuable asset, but you can't afford to live your actual life. Remember those two 35-year-olds from the beginning? Same job, same city, same degree. The one who retires at 55 didn't earn more. They just understood which side of the debt equation to be on. They paid off their credit cards every month. They followed simple borrowing rules. They invested the difference. That's not genius, that's just knowing the rules early enough to use them. The $18.78 trillion in American debt isn't your problem to solve. Your problem is much smaller and much more solvable. It's the balance sitting on your phone right now. And unlike the national number, yours is the one you can actually change, starting today. If this changed how you think about debt, hit that like button and share it with someone who's still stuck in the cycle. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And drop a comment. If you could go back and tell your 18-year-old self one thing about money, what would it be?